restless when you're fun, cause you're desperate. Oh, here they come for a chance, for adventure. What's your poison? What's your pleasure? Oh, my city, she never sleeps. My city, she never weeps. My city, she keeps me alive. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, 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 oh. Give it my city, my city. My city, my city. Where do you go when your heart's with a fever? Won't you scroll, but you won't leave her? Oh, here we are, all the freaks and believers, all the sweet neon dreamers. Oh, my city. My city, she never sleeps. My city, she never weeps. My city, she keeps me alive. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, 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 oh. Give it my city, my city. My city, my city. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, my city, my city. Give it up for my city, running wild and looking pretty, oh, oh. Give it up for my city.
Hello, what's the story on NXT, everyone? Tonight's topics are the NXT stars on Raw and Smackdown.
How did everybody react to the stars from NXT being on Raw and SmackDown is the actual question.
There was a big announcement made.
Dusty Rhodes Classic is returning. To hear all the teams that are going to be competing, stay tuned.
Stick around. And the Velveteen Dream took on Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship.
Did Johnny Gargano retain his championship, or did Velveteen Dream reign supreme?
All that and more coming up. Stay tuned.
Well,
That didn't work out too well.
stupid Mike.
Welcome back to the Wrestle Story, where we discuss all things wrestling, the icons of the past, the superstars of the present, and the trailblazers of the future. We stream every Monday night after Raw, every Tuesday night after SmackDown, every Wednesday after NXT, as well as after all pay-per-views, and then we will throw in another stream on a Friday or Saturday prior to any pay-per-views.
And if you're lucky, during the week, we will throw an extra stream in there, depending on what's happening in the world of wrestling. We will just come on, chat about it, give our thoughts. So make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell if you haven't already, so then you'll be notified every time we do a live stream or put up a video.
With that, let's get started with the show. It's like deja vu. It's Groundhog's Day.
100%.
Only this time people can hear us.
Yeah.
We start off with Alistair Black versus Roderick Strong.
First thing I want to say about this is Alistair Black's entrance was so much cooler on Raw and Smackdown than it was on NXT. Just wanted to throw that out there, by the way. They didn't have the cool candle thing. And I was like, what?
A little bigger stage, a little, they can do a little more with it. So I
mean,
think
he did still do that thing where he was like, huh, and he like came up, but like, it wasn't as cool.
Yeah.
As Raw.
Definitely.
Or
I agree.
SmackDown.
Yes.
But this match, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a decent match. I think I'm torn because I think Alistair Black did better on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, I agree. Hello, Bendy. How you doing? And I agree that hearing is highly overrated. We hit the button on the mic and it didn't initially start talking. Luckily, I looked down just to check to make sure it was on, and well, it wasn't. So okay. We're up and good now.
Yeah. So this match, I think the ones that he did on Raw and SmackDown were better. But I think for like Roderick Strong, it was a good match.
I don't know. I think it was a good match anyway. I mean,
I do too.
There aren't many NXT stars or any NXT matches that I don't feel that are bad.
Yeah.
The crowd gets into it, which is huge. Mm-hmm. It helps out. It just seems like there's more electricity in the air when the crowd gets into it.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it was a good match.
I did too. Alistair Black ended up winning by pinfall after Black Mass. And then after that, we had the Undisputed Era come out and attack Alistair Black. And then we had Ricochet come help Alistair Black after he was being attacked by the rest of Undisputed Era. And then they ended up standing in the ring victorious after they threw the rest of Undisputed Era out.
Yeah, so here, my thoughts on, I've been thinking that maybe they're going to move these guys up to the main roster. After watching this tonight, I'm not sure. I don't know if they're really going to move them up or not.
Well, what doesn't make any sense to me is on Raw, Finn Balor said to Ricochet, "Welcome to Raw."
Yeah.
So you'd think that he'd be staying, but maybe not.
Well, I think it's one of those things that they all, and if anybody has any thoughts on this, let us know, because we will tell you shortly.
What's the big announcement? Yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a couple minutes. So next they had a video from the Performance Center with the locker room at the Performance Center, and Shayna Baszler, Marina Shafir, and Jessamyn Duke, came into the locker room, ho-ho, we're the tough guys. And they tried to pick a fight with the women that were in the locker room at that time. And Mia Yim was the big one who looked like she was about to start throwing fists at all three of the women that came in and tried to take names. And so, leading up to maybe some... I mean, they did announce that next week Mia Yim and Shayna Baszler will have a match. So maybe they're trying to lead them into, for TakeOver and have Mia Yim go for the title?
Possibly. I mean, the one thing I don't like about NXT is the fact that they show a bunch of videos and a bunch of, promos in between matches. So we'll see what happens with that. But then we had a Bianca Belair promo. Then we had a video of the last two nights of NXT Stars being on Raw.
Which, actually, back up a little bit to the Alistair Black and Ricochet stuff. Nothing was even mentioned about either of them being on Raw or SmackDown until this video.
Yeah.
When Alistair Black came out, they were like, oh yeah, he was in the Royal Rumble, but I was like, where is he was on Raw and Smackdown last night and the night before.
Yeah, so
Like,
I don't know why they didn't like bring up.
I don't know why they didn't make a bigger deal out of that.
Yeah.
Didn't like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. So then we get to the big announcement, and to me, I was like going into it. I was like, big announcement. Wonder what that's gonna be. But then they announced that the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will be happening in 2 weeks. This was not the announcement I thought they were gonna make.
Me neither, and I was kind of disappointed in it.
However, they talked it up like it was
they
gonna
did
be super big.
say, and one of the things that is out there is that there's a surprise team that's going to be in the tournament that hasn't necessarily been a team
in a
while,
long time.
Other than, okay, here's the hint: they wrestled last night
and the night
on
before.
SmackDown. So the team's gonna be DIY. Is supposed to be the surprise team. It was kind of a letdown on all. I was expecting something bigger than that.
Like, I was expecting them to either say that they were going to be moving NXT to a TV network, like people had been talking up, and there have been rumors going around that that's what they're going to do, or they were going to talk about, well, these guys that we had down here, we're moving them up to the main roster.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't. So the teams that are actually going to be in the Tag Team Classic are Mustache Mountain and the Street Profits, Oni Lurcan and Danny Burch and the Forgotten Sons, Alistair Black and Ricochet, which now makes me think, are they not moving them up right now then? If they're going to be, because this is in 2 weeks that this is happening.
Well, it's possible that maybe they will be moving them up and they will be moved up as a tag team.
I mean, maybe.
And maybe all four of the guys, the NXT stars that wrestled, will be moved up as tag team.
After tonight, I have thoughts, but we'll kind of talk about that in just a few minutes as to what happened in the main event. Then we have Aichner and Barthel, and then we have Undisputed Era, and then potentially DIY is the other one. So,
So did we let you down with that big announcement, Brandon? If you're still there.
I'm just kind of, it wasn't the big announcement I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because if you're let down, so were we.
I mean, I think it's cool, but, like, they talked it up like it was going to be, like, a big thing. You know what I mean?
I was expecting a bigger thing than what they announced.
And with them bringing the NXT guys up to the main roster, I thought it was going to be something big. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, I mean, it was a little... It would be exciting to see DIY come back as an actual tag team and them talk about it, like... And have them, like, an actual team and not just throw them together.
Yeah.
Like, actually make it DIY. So we had that, and then we had Xia Li versus Mia Yim, and this match I thought was good. I really like Mia Yim. She's an excellent performer. She plays to the crowd really well. And same thing with Xia Li. I think they both do an excellent job of playing to the crowd and, that whole type of thing. So I think they'll be really big in the women's division. Going forward, not even just in NXT, but the main roster whenever they decide to move them up. Mia Yim did end up winning, and then after that, after the video we saw at the Performance Center before, Baszler, Shafir, and Duke ended up coming out and attacking Yim, and then there were 3 other women from NXT at the Performance Center. They didn't specify who they were. They were just women from the Performance Centers that they said. And they came to Mia Yim's aid. And they ended up getting thrown out of the ring. And then Yim was left there. And she got her head, kicked off by Baszler. Yeah. And then that's when they announced that they will have a match next week.
We do have one more announcement that we'll share at the end towards the end of the stream.
Oh, we do.
As we leave.
We do.
Yes.
I forgot. So then they show Johnny Gargano in the back warming up for his match, and Candice LeRae, his wife, comes up and, is talking to him, this casual conversation, you think, you ready for your match and everything. And then Ciampa comes up and is, standing there holding his title.
There was not a lot said. They just kind of, Ciampa and Gargano just kind of looked at each other.
And in the end, Gargano ended
was
up...
like, I am Johnny Wrestling.
No, he said I am. No. At first he said, I think what he said was that I won this on my own, so I'm gonna go defend this on my own because I'm Johnny freaking Wrestling.
Yeah.
And I was like, they should make that on a T-shirt, like Seth freaking Rollins. Well, we're gonna see a Johnny freaking Wrestling shirt.
Yes.
They should do that. Just saying. I'd like to see that. I'd buy one.
Yeah.
Just saying. Then we have a Matt Riddle interview, and I thought,
Again,
it was just a lot of
Riddle.
time
It's a lot
taken up.
A lot of talking. Matt Riddle kind of talked about coming into wrestling and how he got started.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot of substance to it. Talked about beating Cassius Ohno.
Yeah, and how he drove him out of NXT.
And then he talks about wanting to be the North American champion. So, and that was pretty much it for that announcement. They do have the full interview on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
So if you wanted to see Matt Riddle's full interview, you could go to YouTube and watch it.
I'm thinking they're gonna give him a big push if they're gonna get rid of some of these other guys like Johnny Gargano or Ricochet or I think they're gonna give Matt Riddle a big push to then go on to be champion.
I think that's possible.
With him even just talking about North American Championship right now, I think that's what they're gonna do. Then we have the main event.
Well, they announced a match for next week on NXT.
Yeah, the Mia Yim and Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler and Mia Yim will be fighting.
Yep.
And
Curious
then
to see how that goes down. But then we have the main event. We have Velveteen Dream versus Johnny Gargano, who is the North American champion. How do you think this match
was an awesome match.
I would agree with that 100%. I feel like both of them, they give really good matches every time.
The one thing about the NXT crowd is they get into it, and which was a huge difference between what happened on SmackDown, and Raw the last couple nights for the NXT stars.
Yeah.
SmackDown was a little better, I thought, with the crowd getting into the NXT stars.
I would
and
agree with that.
NXT,
but
it wasn't huge.
I ultimately like Raw better because I feel like they just use the NXT stars a little bit. More.
So during the match, it's back and forth. The crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome!"
Because it was awesome.
If you've never seen a Velveteen Dream or a Johnny Gargano match, you know that they're exciting. They're high flying. They do a lot of stuff that is
nuts.
Yeah, nuts. Sometimes it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So if you've never seen one of their matches, and you don't have NXT or have a shot at watching NXT, I suggest you get WWE Network so you can watch it.
This is why they should go to a mainstream channel. So then it's accessible to more people, because stuff like this is why people should go and watch NXT.
For those of you out there, how many of you have seen NXT or haven't seen NXT wrestlers perform or actually watch an NXT event?
I'm curious, because I would say 90% of the crowd at Raw on Monday had no idea who they were.
No, and I think that's one of the big issues with bringing up the big show is
SmackDown
they don't know
better.
who they are.
It was
better, but it still wasn't a great pop.
No,
it's
not like
your casual fan that doesn't necessarily watch the WWE Network.
It's not like down in NXT we
may
saw
not pick
tonight,
them
where
up.
they're always chanting NXT, or this is awesome, or they're just getting really involved in it.
Yeah. So the match goes back and forth the whole time. Crowds, at different times chanting NXT, this is awesome. Velveteen Dream
hits him with the Purple Rainmaker twice. That takes a lot of strength.
Yeah. In case you don't know what it is, he basically gets the wrestler up on his shoulders.
And then rolls.
Yeah, kind of rolls, slams him into the mat.
Twice.
And he picks him, just continues to roll on over it and picks him up.
And does it again.
So then the Velveteen Dream eventually ends up pinning Gargano.
Well, you said before that, I was like, I have no idea how this match is going to go.
I thought Gargano would win, but, hey, what do I know?
So yeah, Dream is the new North American champion. This goes right along with my theory of saying, hey, we're going to move Johnny Wrestling up to the main roster.
They're going to move him and Ciampa up. So expect Ciampa to lose the NXT championship also. Because they're going to move up as a tag team is what they're going to do.
I would agree with that. Like, I said this, I think I said it on Monday. Or maybe I said it yesterday. I think I said it both days. And I said, I forgot that Velveteen Dream and Johnny Gargano had a match this week for the title. Makes sense now because, you know, they have done this before with when they brought Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte up. Sasha Banks is still the NXT Women's Champion, and she had lost her championship shortly thereafter after she made her debut on the main roster.
Yeah, well...
So it's not like they're going to keep their championship forever, but they wanted them to finish out their title reign and not just end it, you know, that night or whatever.
Yeah. I think that the one thing you're going to see is... So those of you who don't know, Ciampa and Gargano were a tag team.
Yeah.
Called DIY.
Mm-hmm.
There's rumors they're going to be in the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Which would be really cool. Oh,
so
and,
which
and
makes me
hold on
think
real quick with that. I don't think I mentioned this. Whoever wins the Dusty Rhodes Classic gets a shot at the War Raiders for the titles at NXT TakeOver New York, which will be the one right before WrestleMania, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just thought I'd throw that out there because I did not say that before.
But are they going to go for the title there, or are they going to move them on up to the big show?
I mean,
because I think right now the tag teams are weak in.
I think it'd be smart
on the main roster.
I think it'd be smarter if they move them up to the main roster, and then they had maybe Undisputed Era wins, and they go for the titles again because they talked about wanting all the gold.
Possibly.
And so then maybe we'll see like Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream because they've had kind of a thing going on recently where they've just kind of like been butting heads, but it's not like a rivalry or anything. And then we see the Undisputed Era win the Dusty Rhodes Classic to then go on to face the War Raiders for the titles. And then they all win at TakeOver.
Yeah. I don't know, because some of those guys I'd like to see them move up too.
I would
promotion.
love to see Adam Cole move up. Like, you have no idea how much I'd love to see Adam Cole and even the rest of the Undisputed Era guys move up. Because it would make such a difference not only in the singles division with Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, but also the tag team division.
Yeah.
So, you know, it would be so cool to see them move up, but I think right now they're focusing on Alistair Black, Ricochet, Ciampa, and Gargano.
I think so too.
I think would have worked out better for them. Would have been if they brought up those 4 guys on Raw, and like whenever they are ready to come up, they go to Raw, and then they bring like 4 other guys up to SmackDown.
Yeah,
I think that would have been cooler to see because I think they would have gotten more of a pop out of the NXT guys if they didn't show the same ones from
Monday
the previous
and the Tuesday.
night.
Yeah, I think that they would have got more pop because they would have exposed people to more of NXT and not just the same 4 guys, and people could have seen what NXT is all about.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, if you don't know what NXT is about, their matches are awesome. They are exciting.
The competitors, they have
it's
their storylines are pretty.
For the most part, I think their storylines in NXT are better than Raw or SmackDown most of the time.
I would agree with that.
There's a lot changing, a lot happening. And I know some of that has to do with some of them are going to be moving up or in the process of moving up, so storylines change quicker.
To me, I'm trying to figure out who they would pull up as the next kind of group of big stars. I said Matt Riddle, and I mean,
well, they have to.
I just don't know who else they would do because they've really been focusing on these main 4 guys that they're looking at potentially bringing up, and even Undisputed Era, Velveteen Dream, they're big guys right now, but I think Velveteen Dream is going to be in NXT for a while.
Yeah, Bendy, we'd love to see Velveteen Dream move up to Raw,
but
I don't see it happening, and I see him running as the champion for a while. Hopefully they got some more stars that are coming up in NXT to come up and like take the place of Ciampa and Ricochet.
I'd hope so.
Gargano and who's the other one? Alistair Black. So hopefully they do have some more people coming up to take their spots, so they can move up to the main rosters. Because I think that it would be people. I think the storylines would get a lot better if they brought these guys up.
I would agree with that, and it'd shake things up.
Now the key would be.
Do y'all think that NXT?
See,
do y'all think that Triple H would go put NXT on Fox?
That's one of the things that we had thought maybe the big announcement was going to be tonight on NXT.
We said Fox or FS1.
Yes.
You know, so
I hope
big networks.
I hope they do, because then it gets them big. And with them putting them on Raw and SmackDown, I thought they were kind of showcasing them so people would know who they were. So they would bring them up on, you know, to bring up an announcement today that they were going to Fox or FS1 or somewhere where it's more of a mainstream and people will be able to see them.
Okay, so real quick, my question is, where are they moving SmackDown to? Because I know they're supposed to be moving SmackDown off of USA and putting SmackDown onto...
SmackDown's going to Fox.
SmackDown's going to Fox,
yes.
Okay? And then it's going to be extended to a 3-hour show, right?
That's the room. That's what they were saying, yes.
Okay. So then... I don't know how they do that, though. Maybe they wouldn't put it on Fox. Maybe they'd put it on, like FS1 is another one that's been thrown around. So, maybe they'd put it on there. But maybe they would put it on Fox and then have it on 2 different days. And then SmackDown's also supposed to be moving to Fridays. Isn't it?
Yeah, SmackDown will be moving to Fridays, at least temporarily. For how long, I don't know. So
then that leaves Tuesdays open. I mean, they could always keep NXT on Wednesdays like they have been, and then do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I really like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thing. I think that's... I think it's a good time, but I think what they're trying to do is get a pop on Fridays with SmackDown. Would you guys watch SmackDown if it was on a Friday as opposed to having it on Tuesday? Because it is, I just like USA Network. There's a commercial like every 10 seconds, and we miss stuff. I would agree with that. There are a lot of commercial breaks. The thing on SmackDown, NXT Invasion might be coming main roster. So NXT Invasion might be coming on the main roster. That's what I've said. I've said that I think that there's a good shot you're going to see an invasion from NXT. I know that there's talk of doing cross-promotional stuff. I think whether it happens or not, I don't know. I've even heard that some of the big stars on Raw or SmackDown may drop down and do some of the cross-promotional stuff on NXT. Well, then it might give NXT a bigger pop. So then more people, say we have, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Daniel Bryan, I guess. Say Daniel Bryan was going down to NXT or something. People know who Daniel Bryan is, and if they wanted to see Daniel Bryan wrestle or be incorporated into a storyline or something, then they can go watch NXT and not just have to watch him on SmackDown. I agree. The thing is I would love to see all of this happen. I would love to see more of the cross-promotional stuff. Maybe that's what they're getting ready to do. Maybe that's why they brought up the NXT guys, was to showcase them, and then they're going to start just putting them in. That'd be cool, because I think that it would make their storylines a lot better. Everything, they could mix and match things and not have the same stuff over and over and over every week they do right now. Not same, Baron Corbin, Braun Strowman. You could pair Baron Corbin up with, I think Alistair Black was thrown around as to somebody who might be cool to see. I think it's a great idea to have NXT people on the main show. It's a great way to increase interest and keep storyline interest. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. I think that's the big thing is I think it keeps the storylines fresh. I think it makes people more interested. And you expose new wrestlers on NXT to people the mainstream people that may not have ever heard of NXT wrestlers. I think that the way they do it right now, I thought it was a good idea to bring those guys up. And then when they talked about now having a big announcement, I was hoping that the announcement would be that they're going to Fox or somewhere where everybody will have the opportunity to see NXT perform on a weekly basis, or even if they don't do it weekly, if it's bi-weekly or something like that, it gives them exposure, and people I think would enjoy watching NXT, and I think they would really enjoy watching the storylines, because like I said before, the storylines on NXT seem to be better than the storylines that you see outside of one or two storylines on the main roster. I don't think the storylines there have been really good recently. And what do you guys think? What do you think the storylines have been good on Raw and SmackDown? Let us know. For me, again, this goes back to the one good storyline that I feel that they have right now on Raw going forward right now, like at this moment in time, is like the Becky, Charlotte, Ronda thing. Like that's the one that they're keeping. You know, they're adding more things to it and doing things that people aren't necessarily expecting.
Well,
and
they've
so
got two
it makes it different.
They've got two solid storylines right now they could use, because they could use the Kofi Kingston,
Kofi
Daniel Bryan storyline.
On Raw, that's the one storyline
keep
that's really
everything-
good. And then the Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan thing. I mean, the Shane and Miz one, I would love that, except, I don't know. It's just not, it doesn't just draw me in like the other ones do. Like Kofi Kingston or the triple threat thing that might potentially happen.
No, it doesn't. Again, it's a lot of the same stuff over and over again. When they're doing the triple threat stuff and things like that, I'd rather just see, like with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, when that whole thing started out, I would rather just see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey.
Because it's, another thing that was said was that, at least with that, it's like something we've already seen. With at WrestleMania 32, when they first unveiled the Women's Championship, we had a triple threat then, and it was Becky and Charlotte and Sasha. The only thing that's different now is Rousey.
Yeah.
So it's something that's like already happened. So I, again, would have much rather like to have seen just Rousey and Lynch.
Yeah,
I feel that would have been more interesting. It would have,
Well, I think the fans would like it more that way.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see Charlotte added into the match.
I
don't.
Well, I think if you're going to start to create a storyline now for her down the road, that's fine. But don't put her in the match with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I think that was just dumb.
What do you guys think about,
Storyline.
the whole, just the storylines in general on Raw and SmackDown?
Do you have a favorite storyline that's on Raw and SmackDown right now? I'm curious to see what everybody's favorite storylines are on TV right now. Just because, I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody really likes the... Johnny Wrestling hinted at Invasion when he said, "We're here to take over." I think the storylines on Raw need work. I like the women's division. I would agree with that. Like, the women's division, I feel like right now they're almost making... I mean, yeah, the women's division is, like, taking over right now.
I like the women's division. The only issue I have with it is there's... You kind of have a storyline being built with Nia Jax and Tamina and Sasha Banks and Bayley. But even outside of that, the really...
Now, hold on. That's just on Raw. There's only two really, like, storylines being made. It's like the Nia and Tamina thing with Boston Hot Connection, and that's on Raw. The Becky, Charlotte, Rousey thing, which is on Raw. And then on SmackDown, Asuka just came back. So what in the world are we doing with Asuka? What are we doing with Lacey Evans? Why in the world did Mandy Rose win yesterday? What are they doing with her? It's
there's no consistency.
There's nothing there.
And you don't know where they're going with storylines. I mean, that's just it. You can't build an anticipation of what's going to happen.
When there's nothing to build an anticipation on.
Outside of, even with the Becky Lynch and Rousey and Flair, you really can't build with anticipation because who knows what's going to happen. Are they going to bring Becky Lynch back in? I expect them to, but who knows? Are they going to take Flair out and just have Becky Lynch and Rousey like a lot of people want?
Much rather would like to see that.
Who knows? So the storyline there is, there really isn't a storyline. It's like the same stuff over and over again. And Lacey Evans walking down the aisle. No one has a clue what she's doing. She walks down the aisle, turns around, walks back up. Turns around, walks back up.
What I said I think they're getting ready to do is, obviously I think they're getting ready to give her a push. And I think she's going to go for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Mania. That's what I see happening. I mean, again, it's very hard telling because we have no clue what she's doing. She legit has just walked down to the ring.
The problem with Lacey Evans is that she has the same issue that the NXT, that Gargano and those guys had on both Raw and SmackDown. Nobody knows who she is. She hasn't really wrestled
a total of like one time, and that was in the Royal Rumble, and they didn't even showcase her that well. So
nobody has a clue as to what she can do. They don't have a clue, as to where, So it's tough to create a storyline with her.
Yeah.
Until she gets in the ring and people are able to see what she can do, or she gets on a mic and cuts a really good promo. It's tough. I've said you don't necessarily have to be a great wrestler to get over with the crowd. Elias. I mean,
Elias, yep.
You know, I don't think he's a good wrestler, but he's awesome on the mic. Now, if Lacey Evans is both, she's going to be a star. Because I think the best one out there as far as the women go as being the wrestler mic combination is Charlotte Flair.
Really?
Really. She does awesome on the mic. She gets the crowd going.
Yeah.
She can wrestle. Like, legitimately wrestle. And so, with that, I think that, and I know what you would say, Becky Lynch.
I was going to say, I'm going to take defense. Hold up right there, bro. I'm going to take defense.
I think they need to combine the men tag team belts on Raw and SmackDown. Dude. This is exactly what we've been saying for the last couple weeks.
Yes, we've been saying this,
just go with one title and not have a title on both Raw and SmackDown.
We legit have been saying that for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, because I don't see a point. There's not enough tag teams with the two combined. There's not enough tag teams to really make it worth having one on Raw and one on SmackDown.
Okay, one thing I do want to bring up real quick is the U.S. Championship. Where in the world is R-Truth? I didn't say this yesterday, but where in the world is R-Truth?
He was probably the same place Asuka was.
Probably. He's the U.S. champ right now, and where is he? I saw a tweet, and they were like, so when you win the U.S. Championship, you get a month-long vacation. Is that how this works? Can I go win the U.S. Championship? Because I'd love that. And I just laughed because it's true. Where in the world is R-Truth?
Who knows? Again, storylines, they have things happen, and then they just drop off, and you don't see wrestlers for a long time. Shinsuke Nakamura. Where's
Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev? They were doing a tag team thing, and then it just
we've seen Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin 184 times in the last 3 weeks. And
I would legit bang my head against
you could
a
fill
wall,
in with some of these other wrestlers that
with
they
how
don't.
many times they wrestled.
So, storylines need to change. They need to get some pop into it. And we'll see what happens.
So, going back to NXT. Sorry, after a long Raw and SmackDown rant. It's fine, Velveteen Dream ends up winning the championship, and then we are left seeing Ciampa in the back, just watching on the monitor, and he's just shaking his head, and he has that look on his face I told you, let me go out there with you, and you would have retained. Because before, he said, well, he didn't say much, except from the fact that he was he didn't say much, he just walked up, and Gargano said, I don't need you, I won this championship on my own, I'm going to go defend it on my own. So, I think they're a great tag team. They're so good, Gargano and Ciampa.
Which is why I think you'll see them move up together.
They were so good on Raw and SmackDown both days that they had those tag team matches. First, people were cracking jokes because they beat the Raw Tag Team Championships in a non-title match. Haha. And then on SmackDown...
But see, that's something else I don't get.
Andrade needs to win the U.S. title to defend against Rey. I think that's a good thought.
I think it'd be a good storyline. The problem is WWE doesn't pull that trigger and doesn't do it. And so they need to get more people involved to keep people interested. Well, and right now, I've said this before with AEW coming up, as long as AEW continues to promote and they put on a good show, and we'll see what happens, when they have their pay-per-view, and if they get a television endorsement or,
whatever
television contract, they will definitely compete with WWE right now as far as putting on a good show, because right now WWE is pretty stale, in my opinion. With the exception of NXT.
I was gonna say, I said this yesterday. This is going back to the NXT guys coming up and talking about talent that they're facing to make them look, but the people that they matched them up against, aside from the fact of the tag team match with DIY and on both nights, I thought those matches were really good. Not that the other guys' matches that came up, for the guys with NXT that came up, I'm not saying those matches were bad, but just the people they paired them up with aren't big names. We said Ricochet and Rey Mysterio would have made an awesome match last night on SmackDown instead of whatever the heck his name is from Sanity. I can't even remember what his name is. Like, that's how important he was. I can't remember what his name was. So, you know, like, I know he's from Sanity, but I don't remember which guy it was.
Well, there's another team they brought up and they've done nothing with. What have they done with them?
Yeah. So it's like they matched him up with somebody who I feel like people don't even really care about at this moment in time. And like I just said, I don't even remember what the guy's name was. So
Well, I think that was the big problem with bringing them up and doing what they did with them.
Eric Young? I think it was Eric Young.
Yeah.
So, you know, well, there we go. I did remember his name, but took a long while to remember his name. But we said Ricochet and Rey Mysterio would have made an awesome match, and people know who Rey Mysterio is. And then both of them were, like, athletic dudes who do, like, flippy-dippy things in the ring. So it would have been a really cool match.
And I think it would have got over more.
It would have.
Those two.
And on Raw, I mean, Alistair Black and Elias, we love Elias, but Elias isn't a great wrestler, so it wasn't really a good matchup there, just due to the fact that he isn't a great wrestler. He's good on the mic, but not so much in the ring.
Yeah.
So, you know, they could have paired Alistair Black up with somebody else who's more better, who's better in the ring.
Well, I think he would have had a better shot at showcasing his talents.
Yeah, because with Elias, we all know Elias isn't a great wrestler, so we all figure that he's going to lose because Alistair Black, you know, is just going to kick him in the head and he'll fall over and go, pin me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys think that the guys on NXT should have, or the guys on NXT on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, do you think they should have faced other people? Because
like bigger stars?
Like bigger
names.
stars, not people that, like, people really didn't know. I mean, they know who they are, but they're not huge.
See, that would have been a good match because right now they've got Drew McIntyre.
Dude, that would have been such a good match. Like,
with Drew McIntyre out there being seen and everybody knows who he is, it would have been a better match to have Alistair Black against Drew McIntyre than what they had.
That would have been such a good match. You know, so it's just things like that like maybe they could have done a little differently, and I think the guys from NXT would have gotten a bigger pop, at least on Raw, where the crowd didn't know them as, you know, they don't really know who they are.
Well, here's a question. Why did they have the Revival lose to Gargano and Ciampa?
I have no idea. They're the champs, and people were cracking jokes on it and making fun of it. Like, seriously? Like, the week after they win the titles, they don't even win a match?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't showcase them very well either. No. So, you know, it would have made sense to pair them up with somebody else than the champs.
Then what's it saying
Unless they were going to lead into a storyline where then they go to take the championship.
But what's it say about the Revival?
It says that they're not very good. That they aren't getting as big of a push. Well, it says that they're not getting the
pop. I mean, I don't understand why they do it, why they're doing some of the stuff they do.
The Revival already has many, many issues and much speculation. So, I mean, maybe it's just one of those things where they're like, you know, we gave you, if the rumors were true where they were going to leave, then they're like, okay, we gave you the titles, but now we're going to have you lose in a bunch of matches, and you're going to lose those titles pretty quick. Sorry, we gave you what you wanted, but then, you know, we're going to take it away.
Yeah. I mean,
that could be another...
well, and then are they going to let the Revival leave? I mean, if the rumors are true about them wanting to leave because they weren't getting a pop.
And then they give them the championships? Does that make any sense to anybody?
So, and you know, I don't know if those rumors are true or not, but if they are, and you're going to give them the title and then just have them turn around and lose it, why?
I mean, I don't know. I mean...
A lot of unanswered questions that you know, hopefully they get some storylines going. Like I said, I'd rather see cross-promotional stuff because I think it makes the story... You can do more storylines that way.
Yeah.
Hopefully they end up doing that. And, you know, that may include bringing a couple of your main roster stars down to NXT.
I am still waiting for them to bring up Io Shirai and Kairi Sane to go in the tag team division for the women's.
I think that'd be a good move. I think
it would too. I mean, how many other tag teams do we really have that aren't just people that have been thrown together?
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
So, like 90% of the women's tag team division right now is just people that are thrown together.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to see them come up. do you guys have any further thoughts on what happened tonight on NXT, or what happened when the NXT guys came up to Raw and Smackdown?
Questions, comments, anything?
Because if you do, we will answer those.
While we're sitting here, we got one other announcement that came out today. That there will be a biopic? Is there about Hulk Hogan. Not sure. Did it say when it was coming out?
I don't think so, but they did say that it is going to be on Netflix. So it's going to be like a Netflix movie, which is cool. And like for us, it'll be more accessible than I think what it's going to be is it's going to be a lot like what they're doing with Paige right now, with her movie of how she came to be the star that she is.
Only it's going to be on Netflix and
not in the movies. It's going to be on Netflix and not in the movies. So they announced that Chris Hemsworth is going to play young Hulk Hogan in the biopic. So
yes, so that was the other story that came out today. I'm
excited. I think it'll be cool.
I think it has a shot to be cool.
And I mean
especially if you're a Hulk Hogan fan.
And I was gonna say people haven't really focused on Hulk Hogan in such a long time. And Eric Bischoff is working on this movie too.
I think he's like a producer.
He's one of the producers for the movie. So I mean that's really cool because Eric Bischoff did work with Hulk Hogan. So
I grew up a Hulk Hogan fan, so
I think Hulk Hogan is cool. Hulk Hogan is one of the first
in my opinion,
big time wrestlers I'd ever seen.
In my opinion, he's the one that made wrestling what it is now.
I would agree with that. It was like that whole Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. I mean, they're big deals. And when I first started,
definitely Hulkamania,
brother. So when I first started watching wrestling almost 5 years ago now, is when we started. Well, it's when the WWE Network came out. It was WrestleMania 30 is right around there. And I didn't watch any of the new stuff at first. I just watched the old stuff. That's what we started watching. Was the old stuff.
Yep.
And kind of have just been watching ever since. So
Yeah, and I just started getting back into it just recently. I've caught
actually watching stuff.
Yeah, I've caught glimpses of stuff because you watch all the new stuff now.
I do. I watch it. So, before we started doing streams, I watched every pay-per-view that they had every single month.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch the weekly shows all that often. I watched them every now and again, but I mean, I think watching the weekly shows makes sense. If you're gonna watch the pay-per-views too, then you just kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I like doing this a lot. I like watching wrestling, having something to do every single night of the week most of the time, depending on if there's pay-per-view or not.
Yes.
So, I don't know. It's fun. Hope you all like it.
Yeah. With that, if nobody has any other further comments or any questions, we'll give you a second here. We're going to wrap this stream up. Just a reminder, we stream every Monday after Raw, every Tuesday after SmackDown, every Wednesday after NXT.
Obviously.
We stream after every pay-per-view. We will do a preview show for every pay-per-view, either on Friday or Saturday. A lot depends on what we got going on.
Well, and if there's a takeover the weekend too, we'll normally do
a Friday show.
And then we'll watch NXT TakeOver and do our thing on that, and then the pay-per-view the next day. And I know that WrestleMania season's coming around here, so we'll also do one on Hall of Fame.
Yes, we'll do a Hall of Fame one.
Hall of Fame recap.
Talk about recapping the Hall of Fame.
Who went in, kind of what happened
So, with that, give us a like, thumbs up, thumbs down, whichever you prefer. Just let us know what you like, what you dislike. Make sure, leave us a comment about what you liked or disliked. That helps us, make our streams better. And I guess with that, you make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, make
hit
sure
that
to subscribe,
button
click the notification bell.
so you know when we are live.
Or we have a new video, whatever.
Yes.
And then also you can find me on Twitter at Maven Gleen And
You can find us at Gleen Network, and you can also find me at Mr_Gleen.
so again, if you guys ever have any questions, comments, thoughts, or theories on what might be happening in the world of wrestling, you can always send out a tweet, tag us on there. So
And we will answer you as soon as possible,
yeah,
if it's a question.
if it's a question.
All right. I think that's it. Peace out.
Bye, guys.